Clippers get James Harden. And I'll tell you, just use your eyes, watch the game, provide a little bit of context based on what's gone on with James Harden in the past 18 to 24 months. I'm not sure if I was an NBA team, I'm not sure I'd let James Harden play on my roster for free. That's how much of a disaster James Harden has become in the NBA. So problematic off the court, constantly complaining, constantly blaming other people. Saw a reporter or a TV analyst for, I believe it was the Dallas Mavericks, but it was an opposing team welcoming in the Clippers to play against them. And he just went in on James Harden. And the clip's gone pretty viral. I think mostly because everything the guy said about James Harden, 1000% accurate. Everywhere he's been, everything he's done since he's left Oklahoma City, it's been nothing but an issue. I mean, does James Harden actually know that strategically speaking, fundamentally in the game of basketball, passing the ball is one of the most beneficial things you can do? And additionally, unless you're built like Giannis Antetokounmpo or Nikola Jokic, Kevin Durant, maybe, you can't play basketball like James Harden does successfully. And you definitely just can't get away with it for long periods of time, especially when you're older, slower, and the teammates around you could care less about your success. And you could clearly care less about their success. You just want personal numbers. That's all James Harden wants. That's all he cares about. And when that doesn't happen and he doesn't put up the personal numbers, and then the team subsequently doesn't win, James Harden, finger point, finger point. It's your fault. It's his fault. Coach's fault. GM's fault. Teammates' fault. James Harden is like a flesh-eating bacteria. That's how bad it has become for him. Tuned into the Clippers game the other day, and he's just dribbling on the elbow between his legs, one-on-one, pull-up three, air ball. And again, that happens to some guys, but it's not ideal coming from a guy who's done nothing but complain about everybody else around him and blame them for his lack of success. Elbow three, air ball. Drives the lane, stripped. Turnover. Drives the lane again, contested layup, nowhere close. Doesn't have the strength, doesn't have the size anymore, doesn't have the speed. At this point, he's just living off of namesake alone. And the Clippers made a massive mistake acquiring that guy for anything more than a rack of basketballs. I mean, the guy is such a joke, man. And he just complains. And then he goes out and he just doesn't play well. I mean, how much more does the guy need? How much more does he need? He was on an Oklahoma City team with Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. Yeah, they had a decent stretch. Nothing came out of it. Okay, well, they're young and a lot of personalities. They all go their separate ways. Ends up with Houston. Nothing comes out of it. Forces a trade to Brooklyn, back with Kevin Durant. Not only does nothing happen, they become worse after the acquisitions. Points fingers, blames everybody else, forces a trade. Philly. For Ben Simmons. I'd rather have Ben Simmons. Actually, I don't know. That might be pushing it. But you get my point. Then he goes from Philly, has no success. Point finger. Your fault. Forced to the Clippers. Now it's early in his Clippers, season in 2023, but it's not going to go anywhere. Clippers aren't going to be good. Clippers probably won't make the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, they're not going to do anything. They'll get pounded by the Mavericks. They'll get pounded by Golden State, right? Lakers. They'll just get killed, whoever they come up against. James Harden is everything that the NBA represents on the negative side of the scale. Everything the league doesn't want, everything the league hates, that's your guy. What a joke. James Harden. Honestly, this is probably the last time I'll ever talk about James Harden. Maybe, but I just hate a word that's commonly used by one of my favorite teams, one of my favorite coaches, Nick Saban, energy vampire. That's James Harden. He's an energy vampire. He's worthless. All he does is suck the energy out of your team. Unless, he's playing well, and everyone else is all-stars, and everyone else around him, I should say, is all-stars, and they're all playing well. Then James Harden, Mr. Happy-Go-Lucky, but rarely is that the case ever, let alone every time James Harden demands a trade somewhere.